Okay, here is my top tips for sharpening pastel pencils. So first of all, get yourself a nice sharp knife. I like these small blades because they're lighter weight than a Stanley knife, a big heavy one. So they've got a little bit more give and they're more sensitive to the pastel. Then the other thing to do is I tend to hold my pastel in this hand, and then instead of pulling the blade through, I tend to push it through with my thumb. And then if you are clever enough to aim the pastel into, or the actual shavings into a pot, that's another skill to master. But then I push the blade through the wood rather than pulling it. I can release the pressure as soon as I get to the end of, or to the actual pastel itself, and then I end up with a nice long piece of pastel to use. Now you can leave it like that, it's not sharpened to a point, but actually what that enables me to do is to make large marks on the paper, and what you can then do is end up with a sort of like chisel shaped end. By using it flat, you'll end up with a sort of a pointed end like that, and then you can use that to do your sharp detailing. So I don't know whether I've got one that's got that sort of example, but this one here, so you can see where I've been using it, I indirectly end up with a point anyway. But if you want to sharpen it, I'll use this one as it's already nearly sharp. Then it's just a case of, again, moving against the blade rather than pulling the blade against the pastel. Is just a bit more delicate. So it's just a case of experimenting and learning. But I find working on the actual pastel, you have to be very delicate. So it's a very light touch. But practice, practice, practice. Never do this if you're in a bad mood. Definitely, if you're in a bad mood, you snap more pastels. This is a good sign. I haven't snapped it. So can you see if I hold that against my hand? Let me see if I have something to hold it against. Like that, you can see that's a beautiful sharp point. I would say this takes several, well, I'm going to say years, but it takes a while to master it. So give yourself some maybe cheaper pencils to practice on before you start on your beautiful pastels. If you find your pastels are snapping, get a sharper blade. Really look at how I used the pastel to push it through, oh sorry, the knife to push it through rather than pull it through. But hopefully that's helped a little bit. And another top tip is have your pastels in one box and try and catch the shavings in another, so that you don't end up with dust everywhere. You want to try and keep the two things separate if you can. So I hope that's helped. Let me know what you think.